Welcome to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25 Media. We feature top founders, executives, and business leaders from all over the world.
Chad Franzen here, co-host of the Top Business Leaders Show, where we feature CEOs, entrepreneurs, and top leaders in the business world. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. We help B2B businesses reach their dream relationships and connect with more clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships, and get ROI through Done For You podcasts. If you have a B2B business and want to build great relationships, there's no better way to do it than to profile the people and companies you admire on your own podcast. To learn more, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. Arne Hurty is founder and creative director at BayCreative. For 25 years, he has worked with B2B tech companies to help them relate to their customers and communicate better with each other internally. Hey, Arne, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Hey, pleasure. Thank you. Doing fine, thanks. Doing fine.
Good. Hey, tell me a little bit more about BayCreative and what you guys do for your clients.
Sure. BayCreative, we started up with BayCreative 25 years ago now. And we're a small boutique agency located in the San Francisco area, working mainly with B2B technology companies. And we help them with communications internally and both externally with a wide range of services, strategy and support on asset creation and the like.
You founded BayCreative in 1997. Congrats on your longevity. What had you been doing prior to launching it?
Oh, well, before BayCreative, I was working at Macworld Magazine, which at that time was quite a coffee table publication. So it was an exciting place to be. We were producing some high quality design. I did design, informational graphic design there for many years. And after that, helped get going with the first Macworld Online, which was there back in the days of AOL and, all that stuff. So that goes way, way back. And, after doing that for quite a stretch, had come to meet a lot of wonderful, talented people there, great designers and writers and illustrators and the like, and thought it might be smart, might be a good time to start a company. And, kind of draw from those resources as well as our own internally and kind of put together a company to do marketing work for people.
Sure. So you launched BayCreative. How did that kind of specific idea bloom or come about?
Really, it was something that I'd always wanted to do. I always wanted to work for myself. I always wanted to start a business. That's something that kind of has been something that's been in me since the beginning, since I was the kid driving around with my lawnmower in the wagon looking for lawns to mow. Mm-hmm. So it was just an extension of that, really. It's a little bit of maybe for me personally, a little bit of a kind of a rogue or rebellious instinct. I don't want to be working for anybody. So, I try really hard to be a real good employer, at BayCreative and not fall into the same, pitfalls I felt, serving as an employee in many cases. Although I got to say, I had some wonderful bosses over the years.
What would you say, based on your experience as an employer and an employee, you kind of focus on trying to do to, be a good leader of the ship?
Really, it's easier maybe in some cases with creative services. We have very skilled high-end people working with us. So our team is already comprised of people who have real experience and background in what they do. So we do have a path for people at BayCreative who are learning and discovering who they want to become in terms of the business. But a lot of the people at BayCreative are people with a lot of background and expertise. So it's easy for them to contribute in really dramatic ways, to the projects that we work on. And we try all we can to kind of encourage and foster that. creative exchange between people there. I think it keeps people very satisfied, at least in our line of work. It keeps people very, very satisfied with their jobs, with their work.
So when you first started BayCreative, what were the early days like? Were there any kind of things that snuck up on you? How did you get clients, things like that?
Oh, I mean, it was all just kind of, bootstrapped. We were just doing anything to get a customer. My business partner at the time, Barbara Asadi, she had a lot of contacts in the business. I had numerous contacts. We were just, fishing around for anything we can get our hands on, basically. And we had some really nice early clients that kind of helped us get going. Of course, leaving IDG, they immediately became, one of our earliest and busiest customers. So we were doing a lot of business with them right away. So.
How long was it before you kind of had felt like you would hit your stride? Like, we found our niche and we got our processes down, and we're not just totally figuring it out all the time.
That's interesting. That's an interesting question, because I think we're still in the process of doing that. We're always discovering more of who we really are, I think. And it comes out of the kinds of projects that you work on. We try to find projects that test who we are creatively. We eagerly seek those out, because it's a way for us to grow and keep interested in what we're doing, and also have more to offer, frankly. So we look for projects where we're asked to challenge the norms, and we love customers who are open to suggestions and challenges with regards to how they think about things. And that's really when some of the exciting stuff happens.
So 1997, it doesn't seem totally that long ago, but in some ways it was a completely different world, especially when it comes to technology. What are some of the ways in which BayCreative has kind of primarily evolved during that time? I'm sure it was everything you did was completely different then compared to now.
It was very, well, some things were very, very different. As far as the tools go, the landscape of tools has completely changed. So, now we've got completely different, updated or different tools. In some cases, though, Photoshop, that's still a staple, right? And, some of these other Adobe suite products are still a staple. There's other ones, slipping in now that are kind of challenging Adobe's stronghold and all of that. But ultimately, we find ways to execute. It's never been a really big issue or problem for us to keep on top of the technology. It's so available and so easy to assimilate, into our workflows. And I think that the maybe some of the more challenging ones are the business processes ones, the ones that the things that you plug in to run your company, the Asanas and the HubSpots of the world. Those products and tools, are a little more challenging to integrate and stuff. And that might just be me. I've got my brain is more the creative bent, so I don't think that way. But we have people helping us with those things too.
Would you say that the primary channels that you might use for communication or for marketing related communications have changed quite a bit, or stayed similar?
Well, they do. I mean, we don't do the media buying per se. BayCreative, so we're more focused on the creative. Certainly they've changed, right? Social media, how video gets used has changed dramatically. It's gone from a almost an untouchable medium for so many small and mid-sized businesses to something that they can just overdo very easily if they're not careful. So that's been interesting. And likewise, presentations and the focus on hybrid work and people meeting just like you and I are meeting right now. The lack of the drive to an office or find a meeting place and sitting down and looking at people in a room. Those days have just kind of withered away, and the onus now falls so much more heavily on the quality of the materials you have to show, because you don't have the opportunity with body language or, I don't know, pheromones in the room. You don't have the opportunity to supplement what you're doing in that same way. So if anything, I think it's driven a stronger push towards quality in design, in story flow, in graphics.
Mm-hmm.
It's the industry has kind of pushed things in that direction. Another one is this AI. AI is coming up and haunting all of us and nipping at our heels. And in some cases, it's very, very exciting. But, we had an internal creative discussion not too long ago. And one of our team said, well, one of the big differentiators is AIs are never going to feel. And certainly they can emulate feelings and emulate emotions. I imagine that's the case, but they don't actually feel. And what comes out of actual feeling and how does that influence the work we're doing, I think is an important direction to look right now. And certainly it's one that we've got our eye on at BayCreative.
What would you say are some keys? You may have already answered this in a couple of other
Sure.
questions I've already asked you, but what would you say are some keys to running a successful agency with the kind of staying power that BayCreative has shown to have?
Well, I would say not giving up, not checking out. If you have a sturdy commitment to sticking with it, that's kind of what's kept us through in a big way. It's like there really isn't much else I want to go do, so that helps. That certainly helps. And then just treating customers right, looking to the relationship, looking to sustaining the relationship, and finding ways to stay relevant with your customer, and being in there for them moving forward. We've done that. Many of our customers have been with us for 10 years or so, and it's exciting because we've been able to see how within an organization, new people moving in, other people moving out, we become in some of the ways we become the old ones on the guard in a way. We're able to carry forward what's been happening already there with a new person at a company. So it's interesting.
Speaking of not giving up, how has BayCreative kind of survived things that are out of your control? Like the COVID pandemic or the recession in 2008. How have you guys kind of plowed through those?
I mean, that's a really good question too. I like using the metaphor of a boulder and a pebble, and the two in an earthquake, right? The boulder's going to crack, the pebble's just going to get pushed around and bumped up against some other pebbles, right? And we're kind of small, and so being the size we are, we kind of, that's kind of what our experience has been when there's been an economic downturn, or when we've been through a few of them now. We've kind of just found ourselves getting pushed up against other opportunities, and it's worked out pretty well. We've been able to kind of keep pretty steady the whole stretch.
Good, very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, with everything you do for your clients, how important is it to do marketing for yourselves?
That is the bane of our existence, right? It's the cobbler's kids don't have shoes, right? Mm-hmm. It's no different. I mean, we're just it's like pulling teeth to get our own stuff going. So we do our best, and we're kind of in the middle of a push right now to get a few things together. But it's always a challenge because we're always putting the customers first. So.
Yeah, so many, I've spoken to other kind of leaders like yourself, and you guys all say very similar things. Why do you think that is?
I mean, frankly, I think it's a little bit of negligence, right? I mean, we really ought to treat ourselves as our own, as one of our own best customers, and afford ourselves the same care and respect and attention that we would any client, right? So it's a little bit embarrassing not to be doing that. But I would say it's and it's also the kind of thing that you don't want driven out of just pure, gross necessity. Like, oh my God, our numbers are down, we got to go push, and then it's a scramble, and then it's disingenuous in so many ways. I mean, I think the best work, comes from, taking a step back and relaxing, deciding about who you really are and who you want to be, as a company, how you want to project that, and keeping an eye on, keeping your brand tied to its roots, basically. I mean, that's what we tell our customers when we work on brand projects with them. We focus strongly on connecting the brand to the roots of the organization, the vision, the purpose of existing, and then you have more freedom in what you do and how you express yourself. And so that works for any of our customers as well as it works for us.
Great. Hey, you founded the company, like we said, in 1997. It was kind of driven partly by your entrepreneurial spirit. So you are an entrepreneur, but that was, in 1997. Do you still feel like you have that same entrepreneurial spirit? And do you bring that to the table now in your, responsibilities with BayCreative?
Yeah, I think so, but certainly supplemented by the other people that we have on the team now. We've got some wonderful people at BayCreative, and I think everybody there has a notion, an idea about entrepreneurism. So again, we're small enough to have that kind of shared approach and goal. So people step right in. It's wonderful. Wanting to help develop the organization and build it out, and keep us growing. So,
do you have some kind of specific goals? What are some of your goals with BayCreative moving forward?
We have definitely focused our attention around some key service areas. So, brand cultivation is something that we focus on. We focus on presentation excellence, so presentation work. We focus on motion. We say motion because video makes you think of one or a few things. It's short video pieces. It's animation. It's all the things associated with that. And then we've had a really strong support in sales enablement with organizations. So helping sales teams learn and understand and stay focused on what they're doing, providing them with all the materials and tools they need, both internally and externally, has been something that we've been very focused on. So we're kind of zeroing in on those 4 areas for this part right now, and that's been a strategy of ours, moving ahead here. So it seems to be resonating well with our customers.
Very nice. Hey, I have one more question for you, but first, tell me how people can find out more information about BayCreative.
Gladly. The easiest way to do that is just to come to BayCreative. That's BayCreative.com. If you land on our site, you can poke around there. We've got contact forms, and you can always send an email to marketing@BayCreative.com as well. We're not overloaded. We're a smaller company. We'll certainly be able to read the message and look forward to hearing from people.
Okay, awesome. Hey, last question for you. Are there any daily rituals that you find particularly important for yourself? What's in kind of a typical day?
Typical day is just for me personally.
Yeah.
Typical day for me personally is getting up. I try to keep a couple of books by my side, and I try to and never about business. And I try to give myself 10, 15 minutes here and there during the day to stop and read a chapter. And it's just a real nice way to separate and break away from the daily thing. And that kind of perspective is gained from just doing that, the relaxation from doing that, and just lets you step back in a nice way.
Sure. Any recommendations based on recent books you've read?
Let's see here. Well, I like Alan Watts, and excited about reading Does It Matter? Kind of a recent, it's a recent acquisition by me. I have never read that book by him, so I'm excited to dig into that and look at that.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, Arne, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate your story and your perspective. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25. Visit rise25.com to check out more episodes of the show and to learn more about how you can start your own podcast.